time's coming and I reap what I done sow.
Hello, Mr. Karitzis.
It's an honor, Fred.
What's on your mind, brother?
This loan company's done me wrong. They set me up and schemed to ruin my life.
Well, let me tell you something.
I'm not a rich man. I'm a poor man, and that never bothered me.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you guys, and congratulations on the film. Dead Man's Wire is set in the 70s and has a real 70s feel to it. I was watching and thinking Sidney Lumet, Dog Day Afternoon kind of vibe, and you have Al Pacino here, so my connection is not so far off, I imagine. And I'll begin with Mr. Gus Van Sant. I know that the process was very fast when you became attached to the film, but how was to capture the 70s feel in the movie? That TV presence, even in the aspect ratio of the film.
The aspect ratio was something that Arnaud, our DP, was interested in 1:6:6, which is a little bit of an in-between ratio, but it's also period. And I noticed that the new film that he made is also 1:6:6, even though that's set in the 1800s. But he was responsible for the ratio. I think everyone was doing their own version of what happened in the 70s, what people were wearing, what people were like, but what they looked like, and it kind of was talked a lot about, but then it just sort of came about. It was very nice. My one request was to not make sort of monotone browns and purples that often I felt like people leaned on that when in fact the 70s had many colors. So I was showing them pictures of colorful 70s.
That was amazing. The movie is very, very beautiful, beautifully shot. And Austin, I heard that the script had some interlinks to real recordings of Tony, like the 911 call, TV news, since the crime was very well documented when it was happening. Can you tell us, please, a little more about the process of research and let's face it, the thrill when Gus Van Sant was locked in the movie?
Yeah, I'd first heard about it on a podcast and started doing some research, and there was this one particular YouTube video that I would share around with people when I said I think this is a movie, where it's shot on these old cameras. It's this 5-minute archival video. It's on YouTube. It's hosted by a guy named Miguel Sanchez. I don't think he owns the footage, but he posted it. And it has all this highlight reel moments of Tony slipping on the ice and cracking jokes and pointing at the cops and shoving Richard around and getting in the cop car and hosting this press conference and being brought to tears and thanking people, but then cracking these awkward jokes. And every time I wanted to put those moments into the script, it would almost feel like if you said oh, a car swerves out of the way and hits a light pole as these guys are slipping on the ice, you would almost read that on the page and say, oh, Austin just wrote that in to get a trailer moment or just add a little action and juice. And I'm like, no, that happened. So I would have that hyperlinked moment in the script so that if you read that line of action, you'll click to it and it brings it up. Same with the 911 calls and how he hosted that press conference. And a big credit to the research that I had done was our historical consultants, Alan Barry and Mark Enochs, who are these local documentarians who live in Indianapolis, who shared their big mountain of research with me. And I was able to listen to all the debrief, interviews between Richard and the cops at the end, and all of Tony's calls to the local radio station and all these newspaper clippings. And so using that to do as much research as possible. And then, yeah, like I said, putting those hyperlinks in to say hey, at the end when Tony, not to spoil too much, but there's a court verdict and Tony starts to run his mouth again, and that his own lawyers and brother have to put their hands over his mouth. And to me, that was always such a funny button and moment that, yeah, I needed to hyperlink to it because it almost doesn't feel real. Some people go what, does that really happen? It's yeah, my mom even asked recently, and she's seen the movie a couple times, oh, does he really fire that gun into the ceiling? I'm yeah, no, I didn't make that up. There's many things that are almost stranger than fiction that are in this movie.
Oh, the cast is great, but some of them don't look like the people they are portraying. Was it ever a concern, Mr. Sant?
Yeah, well, I think with Bill, because he was a lot taller than Tony, which he brought up immediately. He said, how do I play this guy? I always feel like film doesn't really, you don't really see the height of people unless you really accentuate the angles. So I wasn't really like concerned. I guess there is an element that we lost of shorter Napoleonic figure that is sort of his anger comes from his shortness, which you do find in life. So that was sort of foregone. Um, but otherwise, I just felt he was able to do other things to make up for maybe certain visual problems.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for your time. And Austin, I saw the poster of uh, of the movie, the FC de Lumet movie on your wall. So I guess I was not so far off.
No, no. I mean, that was definitely one of the North Stars. I mean, I love like, recent Safdie stuff, like the Uncut Gems and, Fargo. There's shades of Fargo in it. But yeah, I would say Dog Day was kind of definitely a North Star. And I mean, to me, that's a perfect movie. So if why not swing for the fences and aspire to make something that made you inspired and want to tell movies, which is Dog Day is one of them for me. So yeah, definitely in the DNA of the movie for sure, and then accentuated by Gus being able to cast Al Pacino, which I wouldn't even thought that was possible. Like that's still a bit of a pinch me moment for me.
Thank you
Okay,
so much
guys,
for
thank you
the
so much.
Thank you.